Hey up, how do, and welcome to our fourth chat here on Loose Lips. We're going to be speaking with Rico. He's an absolute don in the bar and hospitality scene. Previously on today's chats, we've had some great ones. This is the 10th feature of Loose Lips. 10th feature since lockdown started. It's bonkers to think, actually, isn't it? But first we spoke with Toyin, who is based out in Qatar. We're speaking to him about the scene out there. He's a promoter, DJ, brand creative, and also got a bit of an insight into how we feel like the World Cup will look in 2022 for people who are heading over there. Then we spoke with singer-songwriter Sam Airy, who was telling us about the life of a singer-songwriter. Good chat with him. Good to know where he draws his inspiration from. We had a good natter. Then we spoke with Laura Bartlett, who is the founder and CEO of the lifestyle travel magazine House of Cocoa, which is sold in places like Harrods. We spoke with her just gone at 5. So if you want to watch any of those previous chats, you can check them on my IG socials. That'll be up for the next 24 hours. And then you can also find it as well on YouTube if you put in Pop Cult Chic, and then also on IG as well, pop.cult.chic. You can tell I'm a bit distracted because the sun's in my eyes. That's why I'm trying to dart it about like that. But Rico is in the group. If you send me the request, brother, and then we can get rolling. What? Another great chat that I had was with the nutritionalist Kelly Herdsman on Monday, and she was telling us about basically vitamin D is good for you, especially in this time. Don't wear sunglasses as much because basically like plants we can take in the sunlight and it helps build our immune system. So I suppose that's what the universe is doing. Rico sent the request. Let's join. Yes, brother, how you doing?
What are you saying, fam? You good?
Yes, G. Blah, 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 blah.
Bra, 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 bra. Leeds in the house.
You know what? Straight away, mate, you're getting one of them. You're getting one of them.
Oh, shit. Let me run to the kitchen.
He's getting specially branded as well. Yes.
Mine's just a straight cricket, no brand. I'm good. I'm very good, fam. How's things? Are you in Leeds or Manchester now?
Leeds, so I'm still combining the love of Leeds with taking over Manchester.
Good man.
So Manny's sick. I never realised Manny had the levels
Hometown,
that
fam.
he did.
Man is the one.
And see, so you went the other way. So you went from Manchester. Was it Bury?
Oh, yeah. Bury boys don't back down, bro.
Yeah, so from Bury, Manny to Leeds. So you went the other way. Whereas I've got this Yorkshire resilience where I'm West Yorkshire, and now I've got Manny and I'm Manny is sick. I'm not gonna lie. It is special. It's got something about it.
Manchester's amazing too, bro. It's birth of the Industrial Revolution, the music scene, hacienda. With some good people in Manchester. You can get a steak and kidney pudding from the chippy, and the chippies are Chinese as well. You cannot complain with Manchester whatsoever. And it's got some sick skate spots. I was all over that city as a youth. A lot of fun. CIS building, gasworks. Manchester's the spot, bro.
Someone was telling me that, and you might be able to shed some light on this as well, that the Northern Quarter was never what it seems to be now. It was quite a gritty area. They were telling me that if you walk through Northern Quarter, maybe even as late as the late 90s, if you were there at the wrong time, you'd be in for some trouble.
Yeah, Northern Quarter never used to have all these nice little bars and everything around there. I mean, yeah, you're talking late 90s, it was still bad. When I was 11, which was 1994, I think. That's when I got my dreadlocks done at Affleck's Palace in Northern Quarter, And even walking through there with my stepdad and stuff, the place was raw. There was still a few little good shops. You had all the Forbidden Planet and everything up that side. Affleck's was still raw though. You had there was a place called Coliseum that's knocked down now, and Coliseum used to have there was a store in there called Flavor that was owned by Prince Nazim's like brother, and he used to
Right.
sell like Carl Kanai, Fubu, and all that stuff in there. He used to go to the States like twice a month and bring back like mixtapes and videos. So have you ever seen that? There's a documentary on Netflix for about Stretch and Bobito, which is like an old like hip hop radio station back in the day.
Nah.
Like that was one of the best radio stations that's ever existed in the form of hip hop. That was when it was like because back then college radio was where you used to get all the dope MCs. So Stretch and Bobito used to have a radio station like was live in a college in New York.
Is it on the Hip Hop Evolution one where they were on about?
They speak about it a little bit in there, but there's actually a whole documentary on Stretch and Bob.
I know what you mean now.
But that's like, have you seen like the Zoo York skate mixtape? Like
Nah.
all the hip hop clips in that of the rappers rapping, that's all from Stretch and Bob because they used to film it as well. So they used to have like Wu Tang come through, Big L the Mac, and just do freestyles. And Nazim's like brother used to like go to the States, get the tape recordings of them because they used to be played once a week, bring it back to the UK, and then like just sell them like all like random pirated tapes and stuff. But it was dope.
So
Manchester's
was there a
always in the
proper
list.
scene there? Was that the equivalent of like the corn exchange? You know, like how the younguns would chill out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like the the alternative young ones would chill out there. You guess me. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's always been a scene like that there. Like Affleck's Palace was like a department store of alternativeness. Like,
that's the right description.
and everyone, yeah, fuck it, let's say it. Everyone that wasn't just like white and straight was in the Northern Quarter. Do you know what I mean? It was where everyone else was. Like all the good people were in the Northern Quarter. Like no doubt.
So do you think it's still got a bit of that soul, even though it's changed to the bar scene? Because I'd give that description to it, but obviously I'm quite fresh to what Manchester is. So
Hmm.
do you feel that it's lost a bit with how it was, or are you happy with the direction it's going in?
Good question. I mean, most cities right about now have lost the direction. If you get me, I mean, everywhere's getting gentrified. Everything that made a city interesting, whether it's London, Manchester, or Leeds, all those alternatives, immigrants, yeah, they're getting pushed out of city centres. So all city centres, I think, are becoming diluted. But Manchester will always have a soul. I think all cities will always have the soul. You're just not going to be able to see it as much. You know, Manchester people are a proud set of people, and especially with stuff like the Hacienda, the Britpop scene with Oasis, people really love it and are proud to be from Manchester.
Let's get the boys in proper. There they are
There
in
we go.
background. Wait, Oasis. No, you're right. You're right, and it's good to hear this side of like Manchester. So, if you had that affinity and affection for it, what made you come to Leeds?
University, bro, and just the chance to get away. I mean, when I moved to Leeds, I'd just come back from like 3 years in working in Faliraki, and I was
Yes.
no, not yes. I don't like talking about that shit. Shit went down there.
I was a holiday rep around that time in Zante, so
Oh,
I can imagine. I can just imagine.
you was a holiday rep in Zante.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah. Well, I was there 2001, 2002, and 2003.
Just as it would boomed and it were on TV, weren't it? With like,
I was there for both seasons of that TV show, bro. Club reps and club reps, the road workers. If you watch some of it, you may see me. There's like a few interviews. I'll not tell you what episodes though. But yeah, like club reps was fucking raucous. All my boys in Sweden, like even I showed them a clip and they were like, "No fucking way, were you from here?" It's like it's just titties,
it's
really
just
bad.
wild.
It
It was
was.
wild.
Yo, Faliraki was insane. That really like made me kind of who I am today in a good and bad way.
Say no more.
Mm. But yeah, when I like moved over there when I was like 18, it was two days after my final A level exam, and we had like a holiday to Faliraki with the boys. We're like, right, we're just gonna get straight out of here, like 2 week holiday. But then I came back like 9 months later. ended up we holidayed for 2 weeks. Then we like found jobs. Then we got a job working in a nightclub called Q Club. I did. I was like a PR guy for like a week. You know, like stood out on the main street,
Yeah.
coming in tonight, guys, 2 for 1, da da da,
Yeah.
throwing out all the flyers and all that. Now, then like my boss came down and was like, "You don't even look right doing this. I'm gonna bring you into the bar and you can do bar support." So I used to be like a bar back, and it was me and then like a team of like I think there was like 4 Welsh guys that played rugby that were bar support. And we used to fill up all the fridges and stuff, and that was about it for like another week. And then the owner was like, "Still don't look right, bro. I'm gonna put you on the cocktail bar with Josh and see if you can make drinks." And then he put me in the cocktail bar. Worked on the cocktail bar for like 2 weeks. Cocktail bar. We're talking Falaraki in 2001. We're making like screaming orgasms and slippery nipples and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did that for 2 weeks, and he was like, and I just nailed it. And then he was basically like, "Do you want to be the manager of the R&B and garage room?" So I was like 18 years old managing an R&B and garage club in
When that scene were
Falaraki.
popping as well.
Yeah, man. Iron Apple Fantasy Island was on TV and all that. Like that scene was popping. Like the second year I was out there, I also had to do like events management. But the only thing I did as events management was like artist liaison. So we had some artists in the club, so I just had to like liaise with them and take them out in Falaraki. But that was some heavy shit, bro. That was like Tony Hadley from Spandau
Yeah, yeah,
Ballet.
Spandau Ballet.
Yeah, Chesney Hawkes came out. Yo, my man Chesney like did a dare for like £5 to get off with this girl. It was insane. Uh, we had Oxide and Neutrino out there. That was insane.
Yes.
We had some of Soul Solid crew come out there. Their DJ set was whack. They brought like DJ Timeless out, and man from Soul Solid was just like going, "Yes, Timeless, yes, yes, Timeless, yes." Didn't even spit nothing. Who else did we have out? We also had like Vibes and Slipmat out as well, doing like happy hardcore shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We had what's she called? What's the girl called? Not Angie Brown. Yeah, Angie Brown. Why waste your time? You know you gotta be mine. That one. She came out and did some singing. We had like an Ali G impersonator come out and stuff. Like the second year was fly. That was when Club Reps the Workers was out there. But now it was interesting to work out there, and then like I've not stopped bartending since. I'm still in the game now, and I'm 37 years old.
So when you come back, that's when you were like, you wanted to jump leads after there.
Yeah, because I've been going there for like 3 years, and then one of my boys called Joe Stallman. He'd already in my third year of Falaraki, he'd already gone to uni in Leeds. And then when I came back, he was like, "You need to come to Leeds because it's popping." There we go. Sorry,
What did you study?
it was a little. What did I drop out
What?
on?
What? Yeah. What did you drop
Well, I tell
out?
you, what did I drop out of? Well, I started because what a lot of people don't realize about me is that I actually like studied art until I went to university. I'm a massive art fan, love pop art, used to paint all the time. I'm a massive like anime and comics geek. I used to like uh, do my own superheroes. I used to write my own comic books and do all that stuff when I was a kid. I used to like make my
Yeah.
own skateboards and do all the design on them and shit. But then like my university, no, my sixth form college just turned me off art. But when I came back to uni, like one of the things that I used to love drawing and painting the most is actually landscapes and city landscapes. So I was trying to get into what do you call it? I've gone blank already. Architecture. But like I didn't have a good enough grades to do architecture from college. So I was like, oh, there's this like architectural technology course. Maybe if I do this, I can like sneak my way on. That's the biggest mistake of my life, bro. Because like architects draw buildings, and then architectural technologists use maths and physics to figure out if the building drawing will work. I was like, nah, this ain't for me. This is not for me, bro. Maths and physics is not my forte. But I managed to swindle an amazing deal at Leeds Met University because I stuck with the course for a while just to make sure it was okay. When I decided that I didn't want to do it, it was too late to simply just like switch course. And basically, the only thing I could do really is like leave uni, go back home and try and reapply in a year. You know, do your UCAS form and all that shit again.
Yeah,
But
long.
what actually happened, which was kind of nice, is the uni was like, we're going to do you a deal because we think you should stay here. They got me on an events management course the following year, but they were like, if you just quit now, you will just have to leave. But what we're going to do, we're going to keep you on the architectural technology course. Just don't come to lessons. And then at the end of the year, we'll just transfer you. But until then, stay in the halls of residence, stay in Leeds. You're going to be fine. So I
That's
ended up,
chill. That's well sound of him.
it is because I also ended up being assistant manager of Northern Light while living in halls of residence, which is where I met Leon. And well, you know, Leon, the rest of that shit's history, bro.
Which year was that for Northern Light? Was that around the time of Dirty Disco?
Nah, man, that was before Dirty Disco. That was like 2003. That was when it's still just like a giant style bar. There used to be like some student nights on there. What was the student night on there? Wednesdays nights, Chic Unique. It was, and it was back in the old like. Do you remember Abby and Amy? When Abby and Amy used to do student nights in Leeds, it was around that era. That's when like the student nights used to be in like all the fancy places in Leeds, and there was like student VIPs like Manolas and fucking Arch 54. That's where all the like posh
All the
student
posh
nights were.
ones, all the
Yeah,
Harrogate lot that had come through.
yeah, not like we're not talking like
Quid a
Oceana
drink
student.
or all. No, we're
Yeah,
on about, yeah.
on about like good spots where like we used to get like VIP in these student nights, and you can get like bottles of JD, £35, all the mixers, like table service and stuff. And this was 2003, 2004 when this was happening.
Fair.
Good
So,
fun.
at that time in that year, in that late from uni, had your enthusiasm completely shifted because you wouldn't really want to do event management either, really. That was just like a sort of baton that had been passed to remain at uni. But in that time, had you fallen in love with the bars again over in the league scene?
Yeah, well, events management was kind of what I wanted to do because I felt that it worked well hand in hand with my bartending. And then obviously managing a nightclub for a year, you kind of like doing events management.
Yeah.
The problem was that by the time I got to uni to do events management, I'd kind of been doing it, and like I'm broke as fuck, you know. Like I'm from a poor ass family, and I was paying university myself, paying for the fees and everything. So I was working like 7 nights a week anyway, to just to make ends meet. And it got to a point where it was like, if I can either continue with uni and stop working, but then I can't afford uni, or just work. And it was a case of I was just decided to work and just hammer down in the bar scene. Um, and that's why I went full time at Northern Light after that. I mean, I was already full time. I was just doing university full time at the same time.
Do you think, because obviously, and we're going to build through the sort of trajectory of where you're at and
Mm.
everything, but to sort of fast forward, could you ever have envisioned the longevity that bar work would have had and the opportunities that it would have granted you?
Hell no. Like when I started out in the bartending world, there wasn't even brand ambassadors. No one was traveling. People were only making like slippery nipples. You know, London was a hell of a lot different. There've been like riots in the bar in the whole world since like the early 90s. But when you look at like Leeds and Manchester, it takes a while for stuff to come up from London and really make home in the north. Because you know what we're like in the north, we're like we don't care what happens in London, you
Yeah,
know.
we're just in our own scene.
Exactly.
But can you think of when there was a pivot, when there was something that changed in the scenes?
Um, just when magazines like Class Magazine, Theme Magazine, when all these magazines started coming out and they were really going into specialist spirits, and it wasn't just, oh, I'll have a vodka coke, rum and coke. It really went into these are the amount of vodkas you can get. And then people really started talking about how to like make drinks, and it is an art form and there's a craft behind it. Then I really just started to like fall in love again. Like I said, you know, like I'm an artist at heart, and it's just a form of art. And it was subconsciously, I believe I was just letting my like artistic nature flow through again without realizing it. And I just fell for it because it was just natural for me to do stuff like this. And also like it's just good fun chatting to people every day on the
Well,
bar.
that's it. It seems like what you were doing out in Faliraki, you come back and you still managed to maintain that. It seems like a lot of, for me, what I fully respect about like
Mm.
bartenders is like the world of making cocktails is like it's like learning a language. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
like learning a language, but then learning the history of that language, so you're able to know. It's like not just learning English, but having an understanding about Latin as well. So
Yeah.
why certain words are formed. So you've got all that side of it, but then it is the the personalities. I'm a strong believer that the personalities make that bar. As much as it's the music, as much as it's the drink, it's that personalities that definitely do make it there. And Ricky's just actually come through saying, my mind's telling me, yeah, which I'm guessing he's put Jake's days, but
Oh, Jake's days.
Jake's is an incredible example. So how did you get from when was Jake's after Northern Light? Like, let's come to the Jake's years, like because I
Oh,
think that those were really like grounding years for a lot of people, a lot of influential people who've gone on in the lead scene and on the world stage now.
well, I'll tell you, after Northern Light, um, where did I go after Northern Light? Well, actually, at the same time as working at Northern Light, I was also working at Dr. Wu's. Dr. Wu's was the first bar I worked in Leeds, actually. And
Right.
then I went from Wu's to Northern Light. Then from Northern Light, where did I go from Northern Light? Yo, we opened up Oracle after Northern Light. So when I was on the opening team for Oracle, then that was like, so I left Oracle and I was going to go and I went to work at Boutique. When Boutique
Sharp world,
opened, shout
world with
out
little
Boutique.
prompt.
But then me and Boutique, like, we parted ways, not in the best way at the time. From Boutique, I was working at Norman's. So I worked at Norman's for a while straight after Boutique.
Sorry,
Then,
can you hear me cat a minute? Like play, the cat was just I didn't know if you could hear me
oh yeah,
cat
I didn't know you
playing
got
in
a
the back.
cat.
Yeah, I had a cat and I didn't know if it was coming through. So I wanted to let people know that I have a cat and not just a random bell like on my bell end just swinging it around while you're talking. Like it's my cat with
What?
ball. So I
What,
just want
bro?
people to know that. Right, sorry to cut you off. So
It's all
boutique.
good, dude. So from Boutique, that fell through and went to Norman's. I was working at Norman's for like, I think I was working at Norman's for almost about a year or two. And then I was like, I want to get the fuck out the bar industry. This is bullshit. So I ended up working at Exit, the skate shop, when that moved
Yeah,
up into
yeah.
the light. And while I was working at Exit, I was also the skate hardware buyer. And I was also working in the evening at Frank's International Hairdressers. Remember Frank's when that opened up?
No.
So Frank's was a small bar that was owned by the guys that used to do Asylum, and it was just right up by across the road from like Zamzam's. I just used to like moonlight there for a little bit just for some extra cash, and this was like 2009, and then you know what happened in 2009, don't you, bro? The
Go on.
fucking the fucking recession.
Boom.
So the recession happened. I was the last person to join work at Exit, so I was the first person
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
Frank was obviously struggling, so I ended up being unemployed for like almost a year. And
Really?
yeah, luckily my landlord was my friend at the time, and he was like, "Just stay living here, and then when you get a job, just pay me 1.5 months rent every month until you fix it out." So I was like,
Yeah.
"Sweet." And then I was actually started working in a. Do you remember Melissa? She used to have like a, not Melissa, doesn't matter. But I used to work at like a calendar shop in Harrogate for a while, over the,
Right.
just selling calendars for a friend of ours, just because I had no job. And then towards the end of like 2009, that's when Ian Silver was like, "You need a job." But I was so adamant about not getting into the bar industry for 9 months. I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll start work at Jake's." And I went in there. I went into Jake's just as a bartender. I started off like four shifts a week, and then next thing you know, I was like full time. then Ian was like, "Do you want to be the assistant manager?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And then literally after about a month, he was like, "I'm out of here. I'm going to run Rock Bar." And I was made GM of Jake's. And then that's when shit went real, bro. Like I honestly, I don't care what anyone says. I really turned Jake's around. You know, we were Jake's was doing. Jake's went from being like one of the best cocktail bars in the world, and no discredit to anyone that might be on this like call watching it, but it literally became like an indie rock and roll nightclub. You had bare sweaty men in there drinking pints with that like asymmetrical like Fallout Boy fringe shit going on. Remember all that shit, blood? Yo, it was nasty. Like people were just in there sweating. And I never really used to like it when I used to work there. But Sylvie used to always let me drop some tracks every now and then. So some highbrow hip hop and R&B. As soon as I got made GM, you know, Jake used to do like under 10 grand a week. I shouldn't tell you that. But then I don't work for him no more. I don't give a fuck. So then when I took over Jake's, I just straight switched the whole attitude of the people, all my staff, switched the music entirely from indie rock and roll to like fun time music, R&B, lots of 90s R&B and hip hop, some good ironic sing-along tracks, and it went from being what it was to having a queue all the way round to the back of like the corn exchange,
Mm,
just filled with women,
mm.
and women ruled the night out. Like, and the best thing is, like, Jake's became filled with women, and they felt safe there. They could come, they could listen and dance to like Brandy and Monica, the boys' mind. Like, who
Yeah.
the fuck don't want to get down to that shit, bro? And like, it was just a good atmosphere. All the staff used to just love it. Everyone had fun. And obviously, if you got a queue around the corner full of women, that means all the guys wants to come. So people just wanted to come to Jake's and find out what was going on. It got so raucous at one point that like on a Saturday night, if it was like if this was back in the day when it was like me, James Coston, Chris, Scottish Psy, Aussie Psy, like uh Christian Few, like in those days, oh yeah, Joey Gunner was still there as well. But like back in those days, if it was so busy, right? Man used to have to stand on the bar if he needs to go get a cigarette, and they would get crowd surfed to the stairs of Jake's, go outside, have a cigarette, come back. Man would then jump into the crowd, get crowd surfed, back to the bar, just stand on the bar, and then carry on like surfing.
Rock
Like
and
we were,
roll.
yeah, we were dickhead rock and roll bartenders, bro.
That's sick,
Like
though. That's what you want.
we were like insane, and we were arrogant as fuck. Like it was, but it was a time and a place, you know. It was a real time and a place where you could be like that. It's not a good look now, bro. Trust me. But like, it was fun at the time.
Nah, mate, you playing that down like Jake's had it at that time. I remember spending one New Year's Eve in there, and it was raucous. We could dance on the chairs back in the day. We'd be on the bar. It was when the DJ booth wasn't in like the kitchen. I don't know if you've seen it now. They've put it like
Yeah. But I remember
it
we used
went.
to have to bring that DJ booth out every night, and it was just by the chairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so everything was just involved. It was good times, man. And it's interesting to hear that you switched up the music because I always thought that because I remember when Chinny used to play at Jake's, and I did love it when it was a bit more indie led there. But it seemed like it was a higher up decision because it made sense that you had Neon that was just fresh on the scene and that was going down a bit more of the upbeat, housey, dancey nature. You had a Porto, which was going to be alternative indie, and then you had Jake's, which was sort of like the good vibes, like you said. But I didn't realize that you were the instigator behind that.
Oh hell yeah. Because for me, Jake should never have been downstairs at a portal, which is I kind of think what it kind of became.
Yeah,
It should never have been that. It needed to be its own thing. And when Jake was there, it was very much Jake's bar. Now he used to play a little bit of hip hop, but not a lot because it's not really his thing. But he knows the tracks. But it was all very ironic. He'd play tracks that he knew would engage, not like the crowd would engage. You know, a little bit of Dolly Parton 9 to 5 on a Saturday night. It will engage the crowd to a certain extent because it's kind of funny. You know, you can play these ironic tracks in there and you weren't offended. And all I did was just take that and turned it up to Rico level. That's all.
So
Rico level's above 11, by the way.
would you say that Jake's was when I remember the Gin Institute, the first Gin Institute started there,
Well,
and
kind of, yeah. Well,
then it's
the Gin Institute was more Portobello Star, and then what happened is as the Star started to grow, Jake's took some of the cues from the Stars, and we started to get the still. That's when we had the refurb and
I
got
thought it was the
all.
other way around. I thought it started at Jake's, and then from that it went to Portobello.
No, we just used to make shit for them up at Jake's.
Right.
We used to make a lot of the single botanical distillates up there
Would you
for the
say
institute.
would you say that that's when you started looking at the world away from being behind a bar? When you could get involved with production?
Not really, because I'm still I like still miss the bar right now, bro. Like I miss it as much as like I enjoy my job. Like I'd rather just be making drinks and doing conference calls right now. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather be like making cocktails and chatting to some good people than creating like PowerPoint decks and stuff like that. But no, it wasn't until I got down to London that I decided to move out of the way of the bar. And to be honest, it wasn't really a decision fueled by myself. It was a decision fueled by my situation at the time. Like when I left Leeds, I didn't leave Leeds in the nicest possible way. I had a friend that basically systematically stole most of my life savings, if not all. So I was in a real bad spot when I first moved down to London, and I just needed to get a job that paid more. And that ended up being like a job that I'd never thought I'd get, which was working for Absolute Vodka. And yeah, I ended up, I mean, I was only in London for like 6, 7 months before I started working for Absolute. That's how much of a situation I was in. And I'd been trying for like almost like 5, 6 years to go and work at the Star. And when I moved down there, I ended up having like to get a, like who moves from Leeds to London and ends up getting a pay cut, bro? That's
Yeah,
exactly what
true,
happened to me.
fair.
Like, got a pay cut, shit got real, life got hard, needed to get a job. And then from out of nowhere, like, Absolute was a brand that I've always loved. People never believe me when I say that, but like I said, I used to be like an art fanatic and an art student as a kid. And I knew what Absolute is because before vodka, what vodka was, because of that guy right there, the one and only Andy Warhol. Like, I've been studying his stuff since I was a child. So as soon as Absolute came along, because like Absolute's cool as fuck. Warhol worked with them, Herring's worked with them, Hearst has worked with them. You know, it was a no brainer for me, and ended up loving it. And next thing you know, I'm working at Absolute for almost 3 years in London. The global position came up to be the global ambassador. I applied for it like another 40,000 people did, and I just managed to.
40,000 people.
Pretty sure that's what I got told. I could be lying.
Look at
I
that
could be
little
making
drop.
it up for the gram. But I got the job. That's all that matters.
So, what was your role in London with him?
UK brand ambassador. So the same job title, total different role. It was a lot more hands-on when I was in London, which I did enjoy. It was a lot more getting out there doing trainings. It was a lot more drinks development. It was a lot more being in the bars with the bartenders, just not actually making the drinks. Managed to get a couple of like bartender shifts myself, but yeah, like it was a lot more hands-on in London, and I did enjoy it. But I'm glad I had my stint in London for sure. I don't think I could live in London forever. I don't think I ever wanted to.
I
Mm.
was speaking with Prince last week. Shout out Prince
No,
always, and
Prince. But
he thinks that he's got another 6 months, if possible, in London. He thinks that it's a bit of unfinished business. He loves Australia, and he thinks he could. I don't think they'll come back. I think they'll settle there. But when they get the PT, the permanent PR, sorry, permanent residency,
mm.
it comes with you're allowed to be away for 2 years out of the 5. So
Okay.
I think he thinks he's got unfinished business with London. But do you think London for you, you've done it and you're just content with seeing it as when it was?
Yeah, I'm content with my time in London. I don't feel I've got unfinished business there. I feel I've got a lot of friends there that I miss a little bit, but no unfinished business whatsoever. Like I'm happy not to be there, and it's kind of crazy where I am now because obviously I'm living in Stockholm, and Like my initial thing was to like come here 3, 4 years and then do something else. I wasn't sure if it was going to be, move back to the UK, move back to London, try and do something there, move back to the UK, move to Manchester, maybe even move back to Leeds, who knows? And oop, I got into a real bad spot while I was out here, actually. I'd spent like the first 2.5 years of living in Stockholm pretty much alone. And when I say alone, I mean I was on the road all the time. My job role was 80% travel, like global travel. In the first 2.5 years, I've actually traveled the world and all continents 7 times. So
What?
yeah, it's been pretty full on. Like I've only really,
7 times?
yeah. In the first 2.5 years of living in Stockholm, I think I was in Stockholm 8 months in total, maybe six, just because of the workload, and I had to be in different places all the time. That's why I'm still awful at Swedish. But like I got into a real because it was, and I don't want to offend anyone if anyone from work at tax here, but it's real tough to live if the only friends you have are your work friends. If that makes sense, you go to
Yeah.
you do that, it becomes like just like lame, really. And I wasn't enjoying it, and I didn't feel like I was being myself. I didn't feel I'd found the people like me in Stockholm, and also like I was just constantly in hotel rooms alone, constantly with a new brand manager from a new market. So it's 2.5 years of introductory, like introductions.
No
Hey, you, yeah,
stability,
yeah,
no blossoming of like
yeah,
building a solid friend rapport. Like,
exactly. And it wasn't until I found like my good friends here, like almost like 2 years ago now, that I just fell in love with this city, bro. Stockholm's unbelievable. Like, as soon as I was like given the keys to the city, so to speak, and got shown how to navigate, and met my, I've got like 6 friends in Stockholm, right, and that's it. I've got 6 hardcore friends. They're the only people like I really give a shit about. 7 actually, just in case they're on. But I've got my girls like Elian and Sinead. Love those bitches to death. And then I've got my hardcore boys, which is Kimbo, Stalkin, Andreas, and Yol. Like these guys, like these 4 guys, really opened the door and let me in. They've all been friends for like 15 years. It's a real close knit group. Like your C23 Kalam. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's exactly the same as that. Like these boys have been through it all, and for some strange fucking reason, they let this 37-year-old British guy into their crew, and we've all just been mates ever since. Like those guys are amazing, and just the way their friendship is has just turned my entire like preference of this city and this country around. Like I was ready to come home. But when I was going through like my dark times when I was here, had some time off work with depression and stuff, these boys would come around to my house every day just to see if it was okay. I'd only known them for a year, but they'd come around with food. We'd sit, watch TV, smoke some shit, and like just chill out. They were real, like they became more family than friends.
Yeah, man. They
And then
showed the care.
exactly, and you can't take shit like that like lightly. And then from that, just my first real summer in Stockholm was like summer 2018, and it was glorious. But when we got to like summer 2019, like that shit was like the best summer I've ever had in my entire life. Like Stockholm's just a good city. It's 14 islands in an archipelago stuck together. So you're basically kind of like always surrounded by water, and the water's clean. So we just go swimming in the city in the summer. We're all out on our bikes. We're going to our secret swim spots. We're barbecuing. We've got roof terrace. Like life's like good. Like people enjoy themselves here, but you've just got to break through the Swedishness of them and allow them to like open up, and then they're just cool as fuck people.
Is it cliche to say that it's really cold? Because I couldn't imagine you swimming in these lakes and the water around it if it's freezing. So is it quite cliche to say it is cold?
I mean, everyone thinks that it's like cold, like real, like really cold, like all year round. But it's kind of like the UK, as in there's winter and there's summer.
Yeah, seasons, and you get used to them as well, like accustomed
Yeah.
to when you can do what you can.
But the seasons are a little bit different. Like the winter's full on here. It can get down to like -10. I've been here when it's been like -10. It's like full blown snowing. I've got a bike. I've got a snow bike. I've got like huge freaking winter boots and stuff that I never had. Like the first year I was here and it was winter, I like wrapped up in all my winter shit from the UK, went outside, and as soon as I got outside, I was like, well, this ain't gonna work. Because this don't keep me warm. This is not how we do winter. Like, I had to get taxis to the office that day because I couldn't walk or stand outside. It was that cold. And then, like, we used to have this older lady that used to work on my team called Bodil. And she was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you need better boots and a better jacket. You got to go buy the real stuff. But then the summers, I'm not going to talk about London because London summers can be fucking awful, like so hot. It's a joke because of the humidity. But like the summers here are like hotter than any summer that I've ever had in Leeds or Manchester. The summers here you can tan here in Stockholm, like in the summer if it's a good one, and the swimming's good. You're getting like last year we had like the water was like 23 degrees around where we were,
Oh, fair.
and it's all clean and the shit's beautiful.
23 degrees, of course, is room temperature. All right, that's the only science fact I remember from school. And actually,
Nice.
I learned one Swedish word for you today, and it came to me through the universe, through synchronicity. So apparently, the word fart is speed. So when Keanu Reeves was going around his world premiere when he got to Sweden, he would have been the movie star of the film Fart. It made
Yeah.
me laugh as well. I know it's really childish, but it properly made me laugh. I can't deny that. It made me laugh. But can we, obviously, I don't want to delve too much on the current situation, but I understand Sweden are handling it slightly different. So you've not got the
Mm.
lockdown. So how has it been? How are you finding it out there through this situation? How's it differing?
Good question. I'm just gonna walk through here as well because I can see that my phone's about to die, bro.
You know what I respect as well while you're walking? You're like, I'm tired and I respect this, and you didn't want to be on it for long, and I was like, should I cut off or not? But we're just flowing, so I respect your
Yeah.
time. I respect you giving me the time. I do, brother. Thank you.
Anytime for you, Benny boy. It's all good, G. Listen.
And also, I'm gonna get out there. I was hitting you up about them comedy clubs, bruv. I'm serious about that one. So all this is lifted. I want to
Don't
come
you
through,
worry.
and if there's any English speaking comedy clubs, I want to. I was trying to get to a Kendrick gig out in Sweden. I think he was there in March. Like I ended up going to Paris, but I wanted to come. Honestly, it's on
Bro,
the radar, brother. I'm gonna get out to see you out there.
just
You believe?
download that Songkick app, man. Songkick's a dope app for finding out if there's any like it links directly to your Spotify and then tells you if there's anyone that you like in Spotify doing concerts in your area. And
I
if
know
you
you
search
like your Spotify on your stories.
But yeah, about the Swedish like pandemic. Like first of all, when it comes to like self-isolation and social distancing, that's like a Swedish thing, fam. Like they just do that anyway, bro. Like they were like, we have to stay inside. Yes. We don't have to see people. Yes. Like even on a normal Monday and you go to like the bus stop, there's 2 meter gaps between fat people anyway, bro. Like so, you know, it was never gonna spread that hard. But this is the thing. This is the difference. It's just the mentality of the people here. Yes, there's no government lockdown, and yes, there's no enforced quarantine or enforced isolation, but everyone's doing it anyway. The government has recommended it. The government recommended don't go and travel anywhere on Easter because when there's holidays here, a lot of people have like holiday homes in the countryside, etc., etc. So they'll all get together with the family. And the government said it'd be a good idea if you didn't do that during Corona. And 96% of the country stayed at home just because the government asked. You know, like when it comes to like the health workers here, You know, I was just chatting to my mum because my mum's always giving me shit saying, I hope you're clapping for the carers at 8.
Yeah.
Like, mum, I'm not. If I was the one guy stood in the street in Stockholm just clapping every night at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna get arrested because they think I'm some crazy man, you know. But you know, she's like, I think it's insane what's going on in Sweden. You know, da 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 da. You know, you got to clap for the carers. Like, Swedish nurses and doctors just got a pay rise because of Corona. No need to clap for
Wow.
them because the government just looks after them. Like, when you look at the UK, I think the population density is 274 people per kilometer, and in Sweden it's 25.
Fair.
You know, there's only 9 million people here. 50% of them are in Stockholm, pretty much. Like, most of the population's in Stockholm. The country is maybe 2, 3 times the size of the UK, but there's less people that live here than in London.
Bigger than UK.
Sweden's huge country, and half of it's not even like populated because half of it's the Arctic Circle. Like, but Sweden's a bigger landmass than the UK, I believe, but the
Wow.
population size is like 9 million. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting my facts wrong, but there's still less people here. So like, it was never really going to spread too much, and people like listen to the government here because I mean, all governments are corrupt, but the Swedish one's pretty okay. Like, they do things for the people. That's why there's been no outcry about essential workers, because essential workers just get treated better. They're just getting the pay rise during this, and rightfully so. I mean,
So
all bars, restaurants are still open, but there's restrictions within them. You know, they're only allowed X amount of people. You're not allowed to be stood up inside. You have to be sat down. Like, so there's social distancing going on. Everything's being enforced. It's just, it's not a police state. That's all it is.
how's it impacted yourself, you know, traveling around and everything? Is this one time when you've got to fully indulge in Stockholm because of the prohibiting of flights to different places?
Yeah, I mean, we're not even allowed to do any internal travel, like within the UK, within Sweden.
But even trains and stuff then, so you're pretty much like just to
Can we?
your own areas.
Well, yeah, we just got to stay in Stockholm. Like, I'm still on the tube and stuff, so yeah, I'm always like traveling around, and also um, I cycle around everywhere. I'm always cycling. Like, my gym's still open, so I'm still working out like 5, 6 times a week. Everything's still open. It's just restricted.
Tell us a bit more about your videos. I've been seeing that you are a man who you could smash it on the video front, definitely, man. But is this something? And also, I forget the singer that it was. There was a singer that you posted up, and you said it was your first piece of like commercial branded. So it was actually in a music video or whatever where you'd got absolute into that. So is this somewhere where you're an area which you're looking to branch your own expertise with the
Hmm.
brand into?
Yeah, well, it's just the project that I run right now is I look after a lot of the product integration within music videos and TV and movies. So that was like the first thing that I'd done that had actually gone out there and been shown. And I'm just trying to take the brand in a different direction rather than just being super cheesy, trying to get something a little bit more intelligent, something a little bit more real, something a little bit more artistic. So we worked together. We were going to do a product integration in the We Got Love Tiana Taylor video,
Yeah.
and we really wanted to be in it. But the thing is, there wasn't really like a natural moment for the brand to be in the video. So I was like, kind of said like no to it because like really want to work with her, really wanted to be part of one of her projects. This project was an amazing one that I would love to have been a part of, like in the actual music video itself. But I didn't want to force it. I didn't want it to look forced or look like an advertisement. Like, I want stuff to look like it should be there. And she's like, well, we're gonna drink some Absolute during the rap party, and when we have a rap at the end, maybe we can do some behind the scenes footage and wrap up the whole shoot with some Absolute. It's like, let's do that and see what it looks like. So we got like behind the scenes footage, and we're just kind of basically seeing how it goes, and yeah, taking the brand in a whole new direction into relevance, cultural relevancy.
Well, you merging the two worlds. Obviously, you love your music,
Mm.
and I think that it definitely one of the things I always remember is they always bring Absolute as the logo as one of the most recognizable logos on the planet.
Yeah.
So if you're able to instill it into that world, you know, into the music world, especially with the love that you have with the music as well, it seems like it's a no-brainer, really. And I
Hmm.
know that you're doing your own videos as well. We've probably got about another 5 minutes of chat if you're
Okay,
all
that's
right for
cool. Yeah,
those.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So I want to let's continue with this, with the angles that you see this, and then let's finish with like your own videos, your own like sort of absolute videos that I believe I've seen on YouTube as well. So, is there any other artists that you'd like to work with? I mean, is there a bit of irony? And I think you'd go for it, but if you approached ASAP Rocky, where you know what he went through in Sweden, and then you were like, come to win with like an absolute, and I bet he'd go for it.
Yeah, I think that angle would be great, but I really want to try and work more with up and coming artists and
Up and coming.
try and build a relationship with them. And also, like when you say up and coming artists, like especially when you talk about that to the business, like we're just talking artists which aren't on like a Drake or Beyonce level. You know, they still see like Childish Gambino as a fucking up and coming artist type about a year ago, just because people is he's not that much in the stratosphere of like he wasn't the Beyonces and the Drakes and the Jay-Z, do you know what I
He is
mean?
though.
But
He is though.
he
Come
is
on.
now,
Come on.
and he's always been to me. But I'm talking to like the general public, you know, like even people like Tiana Taylor, like people were like, who's she in the office? Like she's not an up and coming artist. She's an artist, but she's just not as famous as maybe Kanye West. Do you know what I mean? She's still an artist, but she's not a super fucking star. And it's getting out of trying to just work with the superstars and working with some real people that we can really build like relationships and collaborations with.
Do you have direct ins then, or are you literally almost cold calling in a certain manner
Nope.
to these sort of acts?
We got direct ins, but the company has not me directly. But
So you could literally go with a hit list and go, I want to speak with these, and then they can go from there.
kind of. Don't want to let you know too much about my business, fam.
What about what about up and coming? As in up and coming.
Let's look into it. You
I want to
never
get
know.
out there and DJ. You know, I want to DJ at some absolute events, mate. I'll tear it up.
All right, all right. Well, I'll hit you up with our guy Danny, who's like the absolute guy in the UK. He might be able to give if he's doing some parties and stuff. He might be able to get you on the rotor there. But and the thing with in Sweden, we don't really do absolute parties that much in Sweden, and that's purely because Sweden's actually a dark market, so there's no alcohol like advertisement meant to be going on here. So whenever we do stuff, it's usually at like big festivals. You know, we've got Way Out West here, so there we've got like an area, but like just like absolute parties in Sweden are pretty low. But DJ gigs for you is all right. I got some contacts and get some gigs.
Man, I'm getting myself out there 100%.
Good man,
Let,
good
let's
man.
I respect that. Let's wrap it up then, because I've seen some of your videos as well. So is this an angle that you want to go down? Because you were saying previously in this chat that you do miss a bit of the hands-on action, maybe a bit behind the bar. Are these videos almost filling that quench to be in that still making? And do you think that there's also a future way of doing guest spots at bars, or is there just not enough time for you to fit that in?
No, it's not. The reason why I really want to do these videos, and it's taking me a long time to get to them, is just because I find that people at home can't really make cocktails. And I find that all we really do as an industry is give them simple cocktail recipes to make. But no one's really showing them how to make it. You know, there has been cookbooks since cooking's invented, right? But people didn't really start making food at home like they do today
Yeah.
until the Jamie Olivers came out and started showing people how to cook in a really simple manner. And I feel that's the thing that's lacking, that crossover into the real world from the bar world. I think that's the thing that's lacking. And actually showing people like little tips, tricks, and how you can make stuff at home if you want to, and not being just an RC bartender, like a real wanky bartender. And I just found as well that like if people are going to make drinks at home, I just don't think we should be doing like drink videos in a bar using all bar tools, because it just doesn't
because they
relate.
might not have them.
Yeah, and you
That
got to
makes
make it
sense.
relatable. So I don't think I just want bartenders to cross over. That's all it is. You know, if and I'll be honest, like if Jamie Oliver, Gordon Ramsay, David Choi, you know, all these celebrity chefs, if they were to come to either like Leeds or Stockholm to like have a pop up, everyone in the city is gonna know about it, right? But if a famous bartender comes, only the bar industry knows about it, and only the bartenders give a shit.
And it's mad because we covered off earlier that people go to the bar, and I'm a massive believer. It's the
Mm.
personalities behind that bar that make it. So it is mad that it is that way that no one's really brought through. But this is a good sort of tie up. Should we give props to the Schofields? What's it like to seeing them boys from working with, you know, yourself under you to see how they've like taken over?
Yo, I love the Schofields to death, and like when they moved to Leeds, you know where they worked before they came and worked with me. You know, they used to work at Chili White's.
Did they?
Yeah, so they were working at Chili White's, and they used to come to Jake's like every night and just sit at the bar. And then I can't remember who it was that left. I think it might have been like Christian Few left, and then Joe came was like, "Can I get a job?" But the thing is, and I don't know if you know this about the Schofields, they're from Bury.
Oh, are they from your ends? Did you know one before then?
Nay, no, no, no. But when they used to come in, I listened to the voice and I was like, "Where are you guys from? You from Manchester?" And they're like, "We're from Bury." I was like, "Yo, me too." And from that, it's game over. So as soon as Joe came in, he was like, "Oh, I heard Thingy's left." I was wondering if I get a job. I was like, "You're from Bury, you're hired. Come on." So like Joe Schofield, he worked with me for like about a year or so, and then from that he moved to Sydney to go work at Palmer and Co. And when he moved to Sydney, that's when Danny was like, "Can I get Joe a job?" I was like, "Yeah." And then, but me and Danny ended up working together for almost like 3 years. But then it was when I got my job at the Port Bella Star and had to move to London. That's when Danny was like, "Fuck this, I'm leaving as well." Then, so Danny left. He moved back home to Manchester for I think 1 year, where he worked at the Liars Club, bro.
Yes.
So he stayed at home, worked at the Lions Club to save some money, and then he got a job at Little Red Door in Paris. And then from that, from Joe in Palmer and Co., Danny in Little Red Door, then Joe comes back, works at Zeta Townhouse in London, then ends up at the what do you call it? The Savoy. Danny's in Little Red Door in Paris for ages, comes back to London, ends up getting a job at 69 Colebrook Row and killing it as well. Then the next thing you know, they're where they are now. Like, love those fucking boys. They're amazing. Love them
Is
so
it?
much.
I've got literally a minute left. What would you summarise in words be of that time in Leeds in the bar industry?
Fucking magical, bro. That type of, like, that will never happen again. You know, when things so great like that happen, you've got to take them for what they are. Like, my time in Faliraki was unbelievable. And I know that that period of time and what we were doing and how we were doing things is a dead thing. You know, no one's going to be doing shit like club reps anymore. And the same with like, I mean, you saw what Core Lane used to be like. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but I don't think it's anywhere near what it was at one point. And that's just a moment in time and history that is just magical in its memories. Like some of the shit we used to get up to is fucking illegal.
Oh, you're a sick guy, you're absolute sick guy. Thank you for your time. And the
Anytime, bro.
final point from me is that don't think it went under the radar that you said that you had dreadlocks. We want to see a photo online of you with your dreads
Let me
hanging
see
around
those, man.
Affleck's Palace.
I've been asking for my mum to send the dreadlock photos, but she's secretly like, "Oh, I can't find any." She secretly hates them, bro. Like I had like proper 90s dreadlocks, bro. Oh man, like
I
shit.
did. I look like Roger from Sister Sister, brother.
Oh, same thing, fam. I had like the shitty dreadlocks to like here with an undercut, bro.
The undercut was in. Yo, it's cutting. I've got to go. But always love for you, my brother. You stay safe and cool out there, and I'll link
Yes,
you
fam.
after. Bless, man. Peace.
Bless, bless, bless. Peace.
I'm going to be back for my next chat in literally seconds, everybody. So make sure you join me to chat with Talisha.